Okay, so our initial narrative structure is going to be a group of teenagers that have a party around a friend's house, and we're going to show the build-up of them getting ready. And then we're also going to use the narrative hook right in the beginning by some of the friends turning up, and one of the friends is going to say to the other, "Did you bring it?" And this will help to hook the audience and want us to carry on watching the trailer to see what they're referring to, and for this it will be the Ouija board. Then at some point they're also going to try and contact spirits with the Ouija board, and this is when things start going wrong. So there'll be various things like doors slamming, they'll be running, and the lights will be turning on and off, and people will disappear one by one. So obviously that will hook the audience and see who's going next. There's also going to be the last girl that runs out of the house and heads straight to a phone box. She then hears it ringing and goes to answer it. And then the screen will fade to black, and all you hear is her scream. Intertitles will then come in, and the audience will think that it's all over. But then we're going to have a last shot, just to make the audience jump, which will be a close-up of a mask, just to hook them into wanting to watch the full film.
I really like the idea of self-filming. So when they're at a party, making it like they're filming, taking photos and stuff. We thought this would work well with teenagers. We got this idea from Paranormal Activity and The Visit, so really effective in that. But we would also mix that up with normal filming from the outside, so then you have different camera techniques. We want to film in the dark, so we're going to do various test shots to ensure that our camera works in the dark, because if not, we'll have to change our idea. And we'll also test the handheld shots to make sure that it does look professional, so we don't want it to look rubbish.
We did some test shots as well, test shots, and there were some of them.
So that's of our actual location that we're thinking of filming in.
And then this is one of the trailers we were looking at.
This is your room. Hunter.
What's that? It's Sharon Katie. So weird. I thought we lost it.
Somebody broke in and trashed the house. Oh, the ghost. I know you guys are freaked out, okay? I'm gonna take care of you guys.
What's your take on this whole ghost situation?
I think it's awesome. This is the freakiest thing that happened to me last night. This is the door closing by itself.
Paranormal Activity 2 Unit operates Thursday night, October 21st at midnight.
Okay, our target audience are teenagers, and we chose that because we thought it'd be easy for us to access us. That's our age group. We've done research, so if we choose our age group, it's easy to get research and feedback because we're in a school full of teenagers and we're able to access our friends and our family our age.
Okay, so for the mice on the scene, we're thinking for costume, we're going to have obviously a group of teenagers as our actors. So they'll basically be wearing what they normally would, which will make the trailer scene more realistic. For the setting, we're going to set it at my house because it's an easy location. We know we can use it already. And with that, we also have a mix of a graveyard and a phone box nearby, so we can just use a couple of locations just to make the trailer scene more interesting. For the props, we're going to need a mask at the end, because we want that final shot just to make the audience jump. So it'll help to hook them in. We're also going to need various props such as party things such as the speakers and just like cups, just to make it seem more realistic throughout.
Izzy made some mood boards to show.
So they're just kind of camera angles we'd look at, and these are just different shirt shots and phone boxes and just ideas and how we're going to film them.
So just some like inspiration for our actual trailer.
So the reason we chose this location is because we thought it would fit the horror genre really well because it's a secluded house, so it fits the stereotype of a horror film, and it also had like the church and churchyard around it, which is also like another thing being a horror film.
The problem may encounter that we had the idea of it being a party, so we struggled to get 10 people together at once, so we may have to sort out a time out of lesson to get people together to quickly do those shots, and also filming in the dark, so we need to carry out some more test shots to figure out whether we can actually film in the dark or not. If not, we'll have to change our idea slightly.
We also carried out a survey with our target audience just to get some information about what they want to see in our trailer so we can actually target to them and make it more realistic for them. We've also filmed 8 people as well, just to get some verbal feedback and just get some more information about what they want to see. So we also have a link to our survey with our results on there. So we had about 18 people answer this from our target audience, so we have a wide range. And that's just some of our results from this. Okay,
Girls, there's just a few little questions. Firstly, you mentioned about filming the dark a few times. If you do your test shots, before you go to do your test shots, look into how to light a set, because you can make your own little lighting rig, because I think with your story, your external shots would benefit, wouldn't they, from being in the dark?
Yeah.
Or at least at dusk, like we said, although dusk is shifting all the time. But there is some information I can give you about lighting and setting up very cheap lighting rigs, so we can do that and try and make it happen without dramatically adapting the story. The other thing is to really utilise inside space, because cleverly you have gone down the paranormal route, and the majority of those films conventionally are set in normal lit, normal housing, because they want that, like you said, they want that realism. So maybe maximise those shots and minimise the shots that are outside in the dark, because logistically that will help you a lot. Any questions, guys, from anyone else?
I've got 2. The first one is, you mentioned about like the mask. Are you going to do like the mask of like something like Scream, or where it's quite plain, like the face, or are you going to do something that shows like a monster or like a paranormal ghost type thing?
More like a paranormal ghost type thing, I think.
So something that,
be like a really split second shot, just to make them jump.
Could be like more plain than
not too complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also looked into face painting as well, and just like basically have a white face and just have like black out the eyes again, because the shot will probably be quite dark, just to make them jump so it comes out of nowhere, and they won't like look too much into that as well.
And you can keep that shot really short as well, so people don't see it. That would be very good to do. I would start, if you're asking about a mask, I'd start looking and sourcing now.
Yeah.
Even if because sometimes those rubber masks that you get with a face on, it sounds bizarre, but if you twist them around the other way, so you just have the back bit, it might be all.
Because I looked on another Pinterest one, I got one's mask so that of like face paint ideas, so we can look at them and get like
Play around, and I want to see that on your blog, the different options. You can even go to your target audience with those images, film the split seconds, 3 of them, say, mask, face painting, and another option.
Like
which one do they find the best?
That's the ideas we're looking at.
That would be good, and I'm sure if you did some research on YouTube, you'd find a tutorial on how to
That's
paint
what
those.
I found something as well. The second question as well is, you talked about using the different shots, so the handheld camera and the cameras that aren't necessarily visible to the characters in the scene. Are you going to have like in Paranormal Activity, they have the overlay of like the recording screen that you see on a camera. Are you going to try and put that on there so that people can see the difference between the two, or
you'll need to differentiate?
Yeah, that just is there a way, like, how do you sort of aim to differentiate
that's
from the
basically
two?
We'll base it on how they do it so that you can see clearly the difference.
Yeah.
You will have on the editing programs that we've got here, and I'm sure in your own editing programs you can overlay filters. So it might just be
There
as
is-
simple as changing the filter on it. And a lot of TV shows that jump around different locations do that, just to differentiate. We're now in New York, we're now in LA, so they put a slightly different gradient on it. If you can't find that grainy CCTV footage, or even just a recording signal, if we can find out a way to do that.
You can do it on iMovie. There is I'll send you the link to the YouTube clip where you can do it, and there is it's like the corners have got little white bits on them, and it's got a record button, but it just doesn't have the amount of time it's recording for. But it's just the recording bit is flashing.
The last thing that I just wanted to flag up, because it is an initial idea, and I just want you to bear it in mind, is when you were talking, Holly, about the process of the trailer and how you see the narrative happening, there was a lot there. And when you were saying one by one the characters go, I'm sure that you're not planning this, but I wouldn't have all 10 of your characters going, but just maybe a couple of them, because when you go back to the conventions of trailers, we don't want to see the whole film, we just want to get a tiny flavour of either being picked up one by one.
Yeah.
I thought it was very good. Well done, guys. Good work.